What's up, guys? It's your boy Justin. Today, for Dungeon Rollers podcast, we're reviewing the prequel to Fate Stay Night, Fate Zero, which is based off a light novel series written by Gen Urobuchi, who worked on such anime shows as Psychopaths, Madoka Magica, and he also worked on Kamen Rider Gaimon. I think he worked on a puppet show, Thunderbolt Fantasy, which was like a Japanese language adaptation of like a TV series from Taiwan, where they do like where they have puppets and they I don't even know for sure if he actually did. I think he wrote it. I don't remember. But if you haven't seen Thunderbolt Fantasy, check it out. It's on Crunchyroll. So yeah, this show was animated by Ufotable, and I would say they did a way better job than Studio Dean did with Fate Stay Night. This show has 25 episodes, and the first episode was like 40 something minutes, man. It was like a prequel to the prequel, because it's like it took place like a couple years before the Fourth Holy Grail War, which is the main concept of the show, right? So I watched the English dub for this series, and the voice acting cast for the English dub is Matthew Mercer, voiced Kurtsusuga Amiya, who, if you don't know who he is, I think he was the voice of Leon Kennedy in Resident Evil 4, not the remake, which is like, Jesus Christ, Capcom. You have to remake all. Are they gonna remake Resident Evil 5 next? Holy crap. You got Crispin Freeman as Kirei Kotomine, which I wasn't sure if he actually. It sounded like him, but I wasn't sure if it was that other guy, because there's this new voice actor. Voice actor who sounds just like Crispin Freeman, who voiced like the main character in Megabox and Fairy Fencer F, and he also voiced like Guts in the CGI Berserk anime, who does like a spawn-on impersonation of Crispin Freeman, man. It's such BS. So other voice actors in the show, you have Bridget Hoffman as Irisfel von Einsburn, who is the mother of Ilya Einsburn. You got Lucian Dodge as Waver Velvet, who I think is Canadian. I'm not exactly sure. You got David Vincent as Archer. Jameson Price as Ryder. And you have Carrie Walgreen as Saber. They replaced Kate Higgins with Carrie Walgreen, which I like Carrie Walgreen, but come on, Kate Higgins. It's like, for people that don't know, Kate Higgins is Sakura's voice actor from Naruto. So it's like Sakura's voice actor gets to voice an actual badass female character, and then like they replaced her. Yeah. So for people who don't know the premise of the Fate series, the Fate series is a battle royale anime that was based off adult visual novels, right? Fate Stay Night was the first one, and the premise of the Fate series are, you have the Holy Grail Wars, where the Holy Grail chooses 7 mages to fight and compete in the Holy Grail War, where they each summon a heroic spirit, and each spirit is a mythological or historical figure, right? And is summoned as one of 7 classes. The 7 classes are Saber, Archer, Lancer, Caster, Assassin, Rider, and Berserker, right? And our characters fight for the Holy Grail, and whoever wins gets to have their wish granted, right? It's an omnipotent wish granting device, and the Holy Grail Wars is usually overseen by the Catholic Church, the Vatican, right? It sends an overseer, right? So this show is obviously a prequel to Fate Stay Night. The main character, if you can call him the main character, is Kurtsusuga Emiya, who is the adopted father of the main character from Fate Stay Night, who is part of the Emiya clan and is a well-known famous assassin called the Mage Killer, who is an assassin who specializes in killing mages, and he's also a mage himself, right? And he's not against using dirty tactics to win his battles, right? And he uses conventional weaponry mixed with spells and alchemy, I guess. So he marries into the Einsburn family, who's one of the three mage families who are kind of like the not overseers, but are like veterans of the Holy Grail Wars, right? And he marries into Einsburn family, and they give him they track down King Arthur's sheath for Excalibur, and he's able to use that to summon King Arthur as his servant. But unbeknownst to him, King Arthur was actually a girl named Artoria Pendrick. Well, what's cool about this show is unlike with the original, almost all the main characters of this show are adults, except for Waver, who is Ryder's master, who joined the Holy Grail War because he's what you would call a commoner mage, where he's not a mage who's from a long line of mages, and he gets chewed out by his noble mage professor and steals a relic that his professor was going to use. His professor, who's also participating in the Holy Grail War, was going to use, right, to summon Ryder, which is actually spoiler alert, which they tell you right away, is King Arthur, right? Other participants is the head of the Tosaka family, who is Ren's father, right? Who is colluding with the Vatican Church to win the Holy Grail War, right? And he has a relic that summons Gilgamesh, right? The King of Heroes, and he gets summoned as an archer class, right? And he is given an apprentice called Kiri Kodamine, who was the villain of Fate Stay Night. You find out, like, in this series, that he was a badass inquisitor, mage hunter for the Vatican, and he gets chosen by his father, who's the overseer, to learn magic and then fight in the Holy Grail War as a servant, as a master to support the Tosaka's head family, right? And his servant is an assassin. You have the Moto family master joins the war because he wants to save his niece, right? Sakura from being a tool to be used in the Holy Grail War. So he joins the battle and summons Berserker, who looks like a fucking Dark Souls character. Even though he's CGI, it just makes him even look more like a Dark Souls character. And he's like this Dark Knight with like red glowing eyes, right, through his visor of his helmet, right? And that he was a pretty badass servant. Other masters in the war is this serial killer who's voiced by Johnny Young Bosch, who goes around killing kids and young women, and his servant is Castor, which is like this French nobleman who was going around killing people and who has a thing for Joan of Arc. And when he sees Saber, he thinks she's Joan of Arc, man. Which when that happened, I was like, what the fuck? Am I getting trolled here? Right? Because like I watched Fate Stay. I must have not been the only one who watched Fate Stay Night or read the Fate Stay Night visual novel and thought that Saber was Joan of Arc, because that was clearly a troll on us, right? Yeah. So okay, let's get into my likes and dislikes before I go to the spoiler section. So I really like this show. This show, right? It's way better than Fate Stay Night because it's serious, right? It's serious with the battles. You have actual adults, not stupid teenagers who are running around with their heads cut off like in fucking Fate Stay Night. I like that you have a mature cast of characters. The animation is well better. I like that there's plots are like the villains and like our characters are plotting and scheming, right? Including the bad guys. You have like morally gray anti-hero like protagonist, which is pretty cool, right? The battles were great. Like I said, it's very Machiavellian with its like, you know, with the plots and shit. And there's mind games. You have like Gilgamesh. We knew, because if you watch Fate Stay Night, you knew that Gilgamesh, you know, joined forces with Kiri because, you know, servants can trade masters, right? If their master dies. So you have like, you get to see how Gilgamesh manipulates Kiri, like Father Kiri into like, you know, betraying his master so they can join forces. One of the problems I have with this show is one, you know, we knew from Fate Stay Night, there's a scene in Fate Stay Night where Shiro is walking with Saber on like the Bay Area or whatever of Fuki City, and they see this like yacht, this big ass ship that's cleaved in two, right? And you know, Saber tells Shiro, oh, she did that during the Holy Grail War. She had to use her Noble Phantasm, right? So there's a battle in the, like, you know, the Bay Area, right? Where our characters have to team up. The servants all have to team up to take down Castor, who's insane and summons like this giant monster, right? And not once in that scene, in those episodes, do you actually see, you know, the ship. Other than that, like, because that, like, what the fuck? They mentioned that in the original anime, and then you don't actually see that in the prequel. Like, come on, they forgot about that. But they do put in other Easter eggs, like why like Saber's sword is invisible. It's because they made a dumbass, you know. The excuse in the original was because, oh, Shiro is an inexperienced mage, so he didn't properly summon her. And in fact, the real reason was because, you know, it was actually Saber doing that to hide her real identity. Yeah, my other problem with the show is once the Kurtsuga Emiya, when you find out in his backstory why he hates mages and like why he wants to save the world, because his wish that he was going to ask the Holy Grail was to eliminate all conflict, right? And like, you know, that was such a I thought that was a really dumb, naive wish for somebody like Emiya, who's this badass assassin, would ask. And like, yeah, and like his backstory, you find out his backstory, and it's like really fucking dumb. Like there's a lot of bullshit, like, you know, stuff about Kiri in Kurtsuga Emiya's backstory, like to the point where like people on BitChute were calling him like a libtard, and how like Kiri, like the main villain, is actually the real hero of the series because he wants to stop Kiri Emiya from like lobotomizing the planet. Because like how else would you, like, you know, obviously stop humanity from causing conflict? And obviously, if you watch Fate Stay Night, you know, like, it didn't go as planned, right? So I don't want to spoil more stuff, but like, yeah, I enjoyed the show, but like, it has its problems. Like, I think it's like a lot of its problems was probably from Tight Moon, but like, I don't know. If I were to give this show a rating, you know, I want it. It started off very good, and it kind of, you know, went down a bit, especially there's like flashback episodes, there's episodes where they focus, there's like an entire episode where they focus on Rin, right, who's like a kid, so it's like, why the fuck, right? Like there's episode on that, there's like I think they had like 2 episodes where they focus on Kurtsuga Emiya's backstory, and it's like, I know why, because of the finale. You can't edit it out, but that shit sucks. Because it's like, so it makes you hate him. It makes you like him even less, man. Oh my god. So to wrap shit up, other shit I liked about the anime was you have strategic fights that were cool. I also like, unlike with a lot of battle royale anime, it's not like it's not until like almost till the show, like it's not until like the final stretch of the show do you actually start to see like our characters die, right? So it's like you got like a lot of the anime that was focused on character development and stuff like that, which was cool. They fleshed out the characters, which kind of sucked because that led to like earlier fights where it just led to, like, you know, it was just characters like sharpening their claws, like, right? But like, you know, the final fights were good, right? So yeah, that's all I have to say. It's a 7 out of 10. Could have been an 8, but you know, fucking Emiya's backstory was so bad. Oh my god, like, spoiler alert, he killed his own dad. It was for something. He killed his own dad, and it wasn't entirely his dad's. The reason he killed his dad was because his dad was researching his dad was a mage, and obviously if you're part of a mage family, you know, one of the things you're supposed to do is prepare to win the Holy Grail War. So he was doing research on time manipulation, right? And, you know, he was researching how he was doing experiments where he was prolonging the life of plants, and he was living on this secluded island with his son, right? And his son was in love with this girl who was his father's apprentice, and the stupid girl, even though her teacher was like, yeah, this magic's not ready to be used on humans yet. Uses it on herself, and she turns into like a vampire zombie and turns everybody into fucking zombies. And and our main character kills his dad because of that, even though it wasn't his dad's fault. It was like the girl's fault. And I mean, he should have probably done a better job of locking up, like, you know, shit, so it didn't fall into the wrong hands. But it's like, what the fuck? That was fucking bullshit. But other than that, I liked. Other than that, I love this anime, and there's probably a good reason why this is considered the best fucking Fate anime, because the other ones look like, you know, the other ones look like back to the formula with the, you know, anime waifu romance bullshit, which we're still gonna review, by the way. Alright guys, peace.